I was in some country and I couldn't sleep, and I turned the TV on, and I was watching, it was like a charity event with Tiger Woods, and something that he did really struck me because I understood exactly what he was doing. He talked about how he was describing to this audience about how when he steps up to the tee, he has a system of things he does. He's like, okay, I stand up, I take a look at it, you know what I mean? I do my shoulders, I take a look down the course, I go to the ball, I take a second look. He's like, I never take a third look. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. It's like, I know exactly what I want to do when I get there. So when I show up, it usually happens before. Like, I don't really say much before the event. I'm extremely mellow. You'd be like, are you ready, dude? Gonna get pumped up?
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm just sitting there like this. I'm kind of bored. And then you have to
Do you not want to be bothered?
No, it's just nothing. Okay. Nothing happens to me until you put me in the start gate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the horses are running around, and then you put them in the start gate at the thing, and they're getting all ramped up. It's like that scenario. Like, I don't feel anything until I actually pull up, and you're looking at the Olympic half pipe, and it's just glowing at night. It's like all the lights are there, and you're like, okay, now I feel something. And it starts there, and then I walk up, and
And what do you feel? Is it adrenaline rush or what?
Yeah, it's like this. I wouldn't say it's nervousness. It's more of like a anxiousness, and mixed with like a bit of confidence, and it's one of those things where you're like, man, I really want this to be over with, almost like. But it's great while you're in it. Like, I could never sit here and tell you how I felt at the Olympics when I'm standing there, because it's just such a crazy place to be in. I can't describe it really. It's just like this horribly amazing anxiousness. And you got to imagine when I was at the Olympics, especially in Vancouver, 2010, I'm standing there, and I'd competed in the qualifying, and I'd won that. And then we had to wait 7 hours till we competed in the finals. And I'm just sitting there like, what do I do? I'm like,
for 7 hours,
For 7 hours, I'm just sitting there like, like, what do I do with my time?
Right.
I like told my coach, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a nap. I couldn't take a nap. I'm just sitting there like trying to sleep. Nothing's happening. You know what I mean? And the only comfort that you have is the fact that you know that you can't stop time. No matter what, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be standing there, and what will happen. But that's all. That's the only comfort you really have. But it's great. So I'm getting all pumped into it. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's really amazing, and you feel great, and I look back now and I think about it, and I just, during might be a very intense and maybe almost unenjoyable scenario because it's so intense, but you really miss that feeling afterward.
So you've said you always feel like you have an advantage when you walk out on the snow. How so?
Who told you that? I wouldn't say an advantage. I mean, I just feel like my mindset is what's putting me maybe a little bit ahead of the others. You know what I mean?
How so?
I show up and I'm convinced that this is the outcome and that's all that there is. Mm-hmm. So I don't really let that kind of seed of doubt come in, and I don't really accept anything, but this is what's going to happen.
Then what are you telling yourself is going to happen?
It's just way beyond kind of telling yourself. It's just, you just kind of know. You can just feel like, oh, okay, today's going to be the day. It's great. It's like, I'm riding great. I know what I need to do. And I've just learned over the years, trial and error. I mean, I would show up to the event and practice the whole practice. And then I would do the competition, and I wouldn't do well. I'm like, why? What happened? And I realized that when you show up and there's 2 hours of practice and you ride for a whole 2 hours, gosh, by that third hour, you're going to be very tired. You know what I mean? It's like pacing yourself, and it's understanding things and looking at it in a different way.
You talk about the nerves, and I mean, when you're the most nervous and under the most pressure, you said the worst thing to do is to think about it.
Yeah. Well, I seem to do better when the pressure's on for I don't know.
But you don't think about it, right? Or you do?
I do and I don't. I mean, I always describe my runs and my general attitude as like complete focus and then just a bit of not caring. because that's how it is. It's your own worst enemy at that point. I mean, if I'm trying to like nitpick how I do the flip, you know, I'm not picking landmarks. It's so fast. You're going through the air. You're flying down the, you know, the walls of the half pipe are 22 feet tall, going downhill, and they're made out of ice. You know what I mean? Like, you're going, and it's one of those things where I'm just thinking one wall ahead every time, so that I don't mess myself up. You know what I mean? If I focus too much on one thing, it'll not work out.